So we're going to dig into a really fascinating idea today. The world you see isn't necessarily the world that actually exists. Nope. It's more like a reflection of you, your experiences, your beliefs, and the mental maps you're using to navigate everything. Let's dive in and take a look at the map that's inside your head.
So, let me just ask you this, straight up. Do you think you see the world objectively, as it really is? I'm willing to bet most of us would say, yeah, of course. We think we're looking at pure reality. But you know what? Today, we're going to challenge that big time.
Okay, have a look at this classic illusion. Some of you, right away, are going to see a young woman, maybe in her 20s, kind of chic, looking away. But others are going to see an old woman with a pretty big nose, looking down with a somber expression. So, who's right? Well, here's the wild part. You both are. This is the perfect example of how two people can look at the exact same thing, disagree completely, and still both be correct. It's not about logic. It's all about our psychology.
And that idea right there brings us to this powerful concept. Every single one of us is walking around with a mental map in our head. We don't see the actual territory of reality. We see our map of it.
Now, the fancy word for this mental map is a paradigm. It's our frame of reference, our theory, our set of assumptions. And think about it. If you tried to navigate your way around Chicago using a map of Detroit, you just get super frustrated, right? Well, it's the same thing. When we use an inaccurate mental map for our lives, it creates huge problems. And here's the really tricky part. Most of the time, we don't even know we're using a map at all. We just assume it is reality.
And you can see this whole map idea play out in how we even think about success. For a long time, the focus was on what's called the character ethic. Stuff like your integrity, your courage. This is about what's called primary greatness, who you actually are deep down. But then there was a shift. It moved towards the personality ethic, which is all about public image, quick fix tricks, and just appearing successful. That's secondary greatness. But here's the thing. Without that solid foundation of the character ethic, that real goodness, all those other techniques are just, well, they're hollow. They're just tricks.
And this quote from Stephen R. Covey just nails it. We see the world not as it is, but as we are. It perfectly captures this whole idea. Our character, who we are, literally creates the lens that we see everything through. If you're not trustworthy, even our best attempts at being friendly will come off as manipulative, because what you are shouts so loudly, people can't even hear what you're saying.
Okay, so if our paradigms are really that powerful, how in the world do we start to notice them? Well, a fantastic way to begin is to just learn how to separate the raw facts from the stories we automatically tell ourselves about them.
All right, picture this scenario with me. A person walks into a room. They glance at their watch, let out a sigh, tap their foot a little bit, look around, and then walk out, closing the door behind them. Now, if I asked you, what did you just see? What would you say? I'm guessing your answer probably falls into one of these two columns. Over on the left, you've got the objective facts, the stuff a video camera would have picked up. They looked at a watch, they groaned, they closed a door. But on the right, that's where our interpretations live. They were nervous, they were angry, or maybe they slammed the door. See what happens? Our brains are wired to do this. It's a shortcut. We instantly jump from the camera's view to our own story. Our brain takes that raw data and boom, writes a whole narrative around it.
We do this all the time, even with something as simple as these little emoticons. We see a couple of lines and circles, and our brain immediately goes, oh, that's happy, that's sad, that's surprised. And while, yeah, a lot of these are pretty universal, the specific meaning we give them is still an interpretation. It's a little story we're telling ourselves based on some simple visual data. So does this mean making these interpretations is bad? Should we stop? No, not at all. It's a totally natural human thing to do. The goal isn't to stop having them. The goal is just to become aware that they are interpretations, not solid facts. That way we can question them when we need to.
And that awareness, right there, is your superpower. Because once you can tell the difference between your map and the actual territory, you suddenly get the power to redraw the map. You can literally actively reshape your own reality. So how do you actually do this? It's surprisingly simple. Just two little steps. First, practice describing only the facts. So, instead of saying, he was angry, you could try, his voice was raised and his fists were clenched. See the difference? Second, get curious. Check out your interpretations by just asking questions. Hey, I noticed you seemed a little upset. Is everything okay? This one simple habit can stop 1,000 misunderstandings before they even start. And when you really start to challenge a deep-seated map, you can experience something incredible called a paradigm shift.
You know that aha moment, that flash of insight where the light bulb just goes on? That's it. It's that moment the young woman in the drawing suddenly becomes the old woman. A true paradigm shift can literally transform your entire world in a single instant. To really let you feel the power of a paradigm shift, I have to share a story with you. Wow. It's just the perfect example of what it means to suddenly, truly see with new eyes.
Imagine this. You're on a quiet subway on a Sunday morning. A man gets on with his kids, and the kids are just out of control. They're yelling, throwing stuff, grabbing people's papers. It's chaos. And the father, he just sits there with his eyes closed, completely oblivious. And you can feel yourself getting more and more irritated. Your judgment is getting harder and harder, until finally, you just can't take it anymore. You lean over and say, "Sir, your children are really disturbing a lot of people. I wonder if you couldn't control them a little more." The man looks up as if he's waking up from a dream and says quietly, "Oh, you're right. I guess I should do something about it. We just came from the hospital where their mother died about an hour ago. I don't know what to think, and I guess they don't know how to handle it either."
Can you feel that? Just wow. In a single moment, the whole paradigm shifts. Your irritation, your anger, it all just evaporates. It's instantly replaced by this wave of sympathy and compassion. You didn't have to try to change your attitude. Your feelings and your behaviors changed completely on their own, all because your perception, your map of the situation was completely redrawn.
So here's the ultimate takeaway. That map in your head isn't permanent. You are not a prisoner of your past experiences. You have the power to clean the lens through which you see the world. So the only question left to ask is, what will you choose to see?